religious practitioner. It has not mattered whether you are rich or poor, or whether you are formally educated or not.
National Chairman, acting the General Secretary, our former President J. Kufuor, former President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who I'm sure are watching us, the former Chief of Staff, the former Second Lady, my beautiful Samira, members of Parliament, former ministers and former members of Parliament, former MMDCs, our national executives, external members of external branches, regional executives, constituency executives, electoral area coordinators, polling station executives, and representatives of other political parties, fellow Kukudites. Kukudu. It is with mixed feelings that I welcome you all to this National Delegates Conference. It is a joy to see the representation of our party from across the country converge once again for conference. I, however, would have wished that we would have been doing so under different circumstances. Yet, still, I am filled with hope that as we reflect and reorganize, we will soon be given the opportunity once again by our countrymen and women to serve and assist in rebuilding and transforming our nation. Kukudites, the task ahead of us is one that we have to conduct with diligence and measure. In times like this, we should be focused on strengthening our bonds of unity and reinvesting in the ties that bind us. Our foundation and our strength has always been in building a united party. We have been the party that has over the years built the broadest coalition of citizens, not just to win, but to govern. We have been the party that has over the years offered hope to the largest diversity of our peoples. Under our tent, it has not mattered where you come from, whether you are Sefi, Fanti, Ewe, Ashanti, Gadangme, Krobo, Dagomba, Wala, Dagati, Konkumba, Frafra, or Mampusi. It has not mattered what religion you practice, whether you are a Christian, a Muslim, or a traditional African religious practitioner. It has not mattered whether you are rich or poor, or whether you are formally educated or not. This is why the root of our party resulted from an amalgamation of parties from different parts of Ghana and different interest groups. Let us remind ourselves that the parties that merged to form the United Party included the National Liberation Movement, dominant in Ashanti, the Northern People's Party, representing the Northern Territories, the Muslim Association Party, the Anglo Youth Organization based in the Volta region. Shifi Mope represented the Ga interests in Greater Accra region. The Togoland Congress focused on British Togoland interests. The Federation Youth Organization. It is clear, therefore, that the bonds of unity in diversity has been our lifeblood and our foundation. Now more than ever, we must refresh them and desist from any language, character, or actions that divide us. With unity and consistency, we can regain the trust of Ghanaians. If we are fractured and at each other's throats, none of us can cross over and lead us to fulfill this party's purpose. Let me say that tribalism and religious bigotry, from whichever quarters it emanates, pose an existential threat and should have no place in the new patriotic party. We must also be consistent in pursuance of our effort to address not just the challenges within, but more importantly, the challenges that bedevil our motherland. In governance, there are ups and downs. Through the President J. Kufuor and President Nana Akufo-Addo periods, we succeeded at many things with monumental and transformational achievements. Their achievements, these two great presidents, their achievements will stand the test of time. We have also learned useful lessons in how to improve some things in the future. We must remain resolute and consistent in doing the right things again and in applying the lessons the next time. We must ensure that Ghanaians genuinely see the lessons we have learned and are willing to apply the next time round. We shouldn't be shy about them. It is then that our fellow countrymen and women will give us another opportunity to serve. Ladies and gentlemen, an army that wants to win a battle must exercise discipline within its ranks. Too often, when we are yet to choose leaders, indiscipline, unacceptable language, and unpardonable behavior become the order of the day. In the end, when internal competitions are over, the attacks we would have launched on ourselves become fodder and ammunition which our opponents use to attack us. We experienced it in the 2024 campaign, and we should not let it happen again a second time. This is why I call on all Kukudites to stop internal attacks now. Let's stop the internal attacks now. Let us rather focus on the attempt by the NDC to undermine our democracy and rule of law in trying to remove the Chief Justice. Let us focus on their clear intention to go after the Electoral Commissioner subsequently. Let us focus on the violence and thuggery their hoodlums carried out in the recent Ablekuma election, in full view of the police and cameras. I again call on His Excellency the President to bring the perpetrators to book and to remind them that the elephant never forgets. No matter how long it takes, we will prosecute the perpetrators when we assume office in 2029, inshallah. To the leadership of the party, I ask that you be firm and crack the whip so that discipline is maintained within our ranks. It is with discipline, humility, lessons learned, and the pursuit of a common good for Ghana that we can become the refreshed party we desire. Finally, in all our decisions today and in all our actions towards the reform process, let us be guided by the rule of what is in the best interest of Ghana. At dawn on December 8th, 2024, as I prepared my remarks to concede the election 24, my singular focus was on what's in the best interest of Ghana. I am fortified in my heart that as politicians, we should always be guided by what's in the best interest of Ghana at all times. What represents the best example to Ghana's children? What is in Ghana's best interest will always be in the best interest of the NPP. We cannot ever go wrong with that. Let us showcase it more and more as we reflect and rebuild. I have no doubt that notwithstanding the challenges ahead, of which there will be many, if we are united and disciplined and work hard, we will win the 2028 presidential and parliamentary elections by the grace of God. It is still possible. I wish us all a successful annual Delegates Conference. God bless you. God bless the NPP. And God bless our homeland, Ghana. Salamu alaikum.
Applaud for the various let's applaud all the speakers of today's event. Outstanding, and let's applaud. Let's continue to applaud all our speakers for today. We cannot today have received messages from all political parties, from the LPG. We have received messages from the GCPP. We have received messages from the PNC. And we received the well-wishes from Conrad and the Northern Philippines and the Christian Democratic Union. Let's continue to applaud all the messages that we have received. In addition, let us applaud our speakers. Our speakers for today have spoken so well. They have told us all about our values and unity. Let's continue to applaud them. Thank you very much, the very national master of the New Democratic Party, who stood in for national service. Thank you very much, the national president. Thank you very much, the general secretary of our great party. Thank you very much, the chairman of the Thank you, Honorable you all of you for coming today. I am very female of the Honorable Chairman, Associate of Paris. Thank you very much, His Excellency, the former President of Ghana, President John Ejekwu. Thank you all the speakers of today. Thank you for the messages that you've given to us. Thank you all regional teams. Thank you to our national executives who have been so actively involved and have helped to make this event a success. Thank you, organizing team. Thank you all of you who have contributed in various ways. Excellent. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, for that and for the confidence with which you have spoken to us today. Thank you to all the various leaders. Thank you to all the well-wishers. Thank you for all the personal messages that we have received today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to all our 276 constituents across the country who are so well represented here today. Thank you for traveling from all corners of the country and ensure that the 2025 Delegates Conference is a success. Thank you for all your efforts. I'm so grateful. Without you, there would be no conference. Thank you to our honorable members of Parliament. Thank you to our strong and stable minority. Thank you for your speech. You have all well recorded in our minds. Thank you once again to our general. Thank you to our national team. Thank you to all our strong speakers of today for the contributions they have made in making Congress all very good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Very much. Thank you very much. Conference, we have gotten to a very critical and very important portion or a part of our program under the party's constitution, Article 19, is clear that any amendment whatsoever, whatever nature, whatever type, the kind of amendment, can only be effected by this body duly constituted and duly opened. On this note, the General Secretary, in accordance with the provision of the party's constitution, invited proposals for amendment of the party's constitution. After the proposals, again according to the constitution, the General Secretary circulated the proposals to the regional party and the constituency party. The amendment committee, made up of Frank Davis, the chairman, Idi Muhaideen, the secretary, Honorable Patricia Apieje, member, Honorable Kojo Opong Nkrumah, member, Honorable Ebenezer Gilbert Nina Nate, also a member, Dr. Antoinette Tibudaku, a member, Honorable Diana Asunaba, a member, Dr. Ekuya Amwako, and our very own Makafui Wanya, Volta Regional Chairman, also a member. Council put in place this committee to receive all of these proposals. At this point, I will invite the Constitutional or the Constitution Amendment Committee to come and guide us through all the motions put together so Council can do the needful. So let me invite the Frank Davis Committee, the Constitutional Amendment Committee, to come before conference, put before conference all motions so that conference will duly decide.
Yeah, we're going to start.
Kugudu. 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 Presiding Chairman of Conference, the General Secretary of the Party, His Excellency Dr. Alhaj Mahmoud Bawumia, former Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, all party faithful, friends of the media, both print and electronic, fellow party representatives, our distinguished elders of this great party, our distinguished delegates, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. This obviously is the climax of today's engagement, the 2025 National Annual Delegates Conference of this great party, the New Patriotic Party, NPP. Distinguished party faithful, in keeping with the tradition of the New Patriotic Party and in line with the spirit of the party constitution, the National Council of the party at this meeting on April 16, 2025, constituted a 9-member Constitution Amendment Committee following the submission of the report of the Professor Okwe-led 2024 Election Review Committee. The committee, which was subsequently inaugurated by the National Chairman on April 25, 2025, had the following composition. Dr. Ekwia Amwakun, member. Honorable Ebenezer Gilbert Nina Nate, Dr. Antoinette Tibudakun, Honorable Diana Asonabadapa, Honorable Makafui Wanya, Honorable Kojo Opon Nkrumah Esquire, Honorable Patricia Apiaje, Idi Muhayedin Esquire, Member Secretary, and of course my good self, Frank Davis Esquire, Chairman. The terms of reference of the committee included to identify provisions of the party constitution that require amendments in order to give effect to the recommendations of the Mike Okwe Election Review Committee, to work on the recommendations of the 2021 Constitution Review Committee chaired by Honorable Alexander Afenyo-Markin, to receive proposals from party members and identifiable groups for amendments to the party constitution, to categorize the proposals into various articles and clauses for ease of reference, to make appropriate recommendations to guide the debate at the National Delegates Conference. In line with the party's tradition and the letter and spirit of the party constitution, particularly Article 19, the General Secretary, by a formal communication dated April 25, 2025, requested party members and identifiable groups who wish to propose amendments to the party's constitution to submit their written proposals to the office of the General Secretary or send same directly to the committee via an email address set out for that purpose. Consequently, the committee received over 300 amendment proposals, both in hard copy and via the official email address. In pursuance of its mandate, the committee critically examined these amendment proposals, considered the Afenyo-Markin-led Constitution Review Committee, as well as the recommendations of the Professor Okwe-led Election Review Committee for Constitutional Reforms. The committee then examined the provisions in the NPP Constitution in respect of which amendments have been proposed and the Constitution as a whole. While streamlining and categorizing the proposed amendments, Under the various articles and clauses, the committee made recommendations for their acceptance or otherwise. Where appropriate, the committee also made some modifications to ensure coherence and consistency with other constitutional provisions, and more importantly, with the time-tested tradition and aspirations of the party as enshrined in the Constitution. Recommendations made by the committee were informed largely by the totality of the views expressed by the proponents, the underlying principles and traditions of the party, which ought to be respected and protected, while ensuring that the Constitution reflects current socio-political developments of the party in its forward march to advancing the cause of democracy and the rule of law. Fellow delegates, below are the motions formulated by the committee out of the amendment proposals that were submitted to both the General Secretary and committee by party members and identifiable groups for consideration and approval by the National Delegates Conference herein assembled. For the purposes of clarity and to make what we are about to do very distinct without any misunderstanding when we leave here, I'm going to set out the modalities for the run of the motions. I am going to take the motions seriatim from 1 to 56. After I have read out the motions, questions for the motions will be read by another member of the committee in the person of Honorable Kojo Opon Nkrumah Esquire. After the recommendations, the motion will be put to vote, and we are going to have a voice vote, the ayes and the nays. Distinguished fellow delegates, party faithful, if I have your attention at this particular point in time, I would start the exercise in earnest. Motion number 1. To amend Article 1 of the Constitution to include the party's motto, symbol, and colors. Justification. The absence of the party's motto, symbol, and colors in the Constitution is an obvious omission and ought to be rectified. The party's motto, symbol, and colors must find expression in the party's Constitution. Fellow delegates, those in favor of motion number 1, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 2, Article 3(7). Amend Article 3(7) of the Constitution to give the power to recommend suspension of a member or an office holder pending disciplinary action against him to the appropriate disciplinary committee rather than the executive committee. Justification. The amendment is necessary to ensure justified suspension of party executives either elected or appointed by executive committees only upon recommendation by the disciplinary committee pending disciplinary proceedings against such officers. It is the disciplinary committee that shall recommend suspension having regard to its preliminary findings.
Having heard the motion loudly and the justification, distinguished delegates, those in favor of motion number 2, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 3, amend Article 437. Amend Article 437 of the Constitution to allow for a complaint against any constituency or regional officer, whether elected or appointed, to be filed at 1 in the case of the constituency officer, the regional executive committee, and 2 in the case of the regional officer, the national executive committee.
Justification. The amendment seeks to achieve fair and equal treatment or handling of disciplinary matters involving elected officers and appointed officers who are at the same level of the party, by providing that they should be dealt with by the same disciplinary committee.
Having heard motion number 3, distinguished delegates, those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 4, amend Article 5(6). Amend Article 5(6) of the Constitution to adopt the Electoral Commission of Ghana's demarcation and cluster of electoral areas.
Chairman, the justification is as follows. The EC's electoral area systems are predetermined, bereft of controversies, and involve more polling stations than the party's demarcations of electoral area. The current provision in the party's constitution is that where polling stations under an electoral area exceed 10, an additional electoral area may be created. This lack of certainty and exactitude has triggered misunderstandings in the creation of some electoral areas. The adoption of the EC's electoral area system cures any such misunderstanding or perceived mischief.
Motion number 4. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 5. Article 6. I must say at this stage that this is a new provision. Amend Article 6 of the Constitution to provide for an electoral area executive committee structure made up of 5 members who shall all be elected, comprising the electoral area chairperson, secretary, organizer, communications officer, and electoral affairs officer.
The justification is as follows, Chairman. The current system requires limited expansion to allow for increased participation and support in the management of the electoral areas. A 5-member committee enhances operational capacity and ensures a more inclusive and structured approach to supervising polling station activities.